Yesterday's papers reported the death of Dr. Manmohan Singh. The papers were full of the details of his life. And I was particularly interested in looking at the kind of tributes that the politicians on both sides of the spectrum paid to him. And I went through those reports, and all of them had some kind of general statements, like he was a mentor, he was a philosopher and guide, and of course overdoing the qualities of the man, like his decency, his gentleness, his soft-spoken nature, his compassion, that kind of thing. And it occurred to me that all these qualities that they were speaking of, both sides, the government side, the people who count, and the opposition side, the leaders, their statements, okay. And as I said, they were all in generalities. Qualities of gentleness and decency, which are seen in hundreds of thousands of this great country, and which is more or less something which we all expect of a decent and good man. But that is not his unique contribution to our economic life and to our economic history. And I didn't see much evidence of that. And it really made me think whether all this glossing over and this overdoing of the man's qualities, so was all or could be because there would be other claimants to this most unique role. I shouldn't say most unique, I shouldn't qualify unique, to this unique role that Dr. Manmohan Singh plays. What am I talking about? What's the substance? What are the details? The year was 1991. The economy was in a mess. Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, wise man as he was, he thought that Dr. Manmohan Singh was the right person to be put in charge. And therefore, he asked Dr. Manmohan Singh to do this job and told him something like this: you do the job of getting the economy on its feet again. I will look after the political part, the consensus building, the reaching out to the people for what could be bitter medicine, and a general consensus being built with the cooperation of the press about first of all, about the situation there, which was very bad, and the hard measures ahead. Dr. Manmohan Singh set about his task immediately with single-minded purpose. That showed the man he was no weak person. He called in all the secretaries of government, the top bureaucrats, and told them something like this: we are in a terrible mess. The government is going to take rapid fire actions. A lot of measures. We need to get them through quickly, one by one. We cannot wait, there is no time. I need your cooperation. We are going to work as a team. And he said, if there is anyone here who has some reservation or the other, tell me now. And all the top bureaucrats showed that they had no problems with what the Prime Minister was saying, the Finance Minister was saying. And so he set about his task. What was the task before him? What was the nature of the mess that was before him? I can give you some snapshots because there is no time. What he saw was that the economy was in a state of total collapse. It was dying. And he thought to himself, I will save this whole thing. The foreign exchange reserves would only last for about 10 to 15 days. The foreign exchange reserves are needed not only for the import of essential items needed for our economy, but more importantly, they are needed for servicing our foreign debt. The debt that we owe to various institutions. That was huge. We owed the world about $70 billion. And these debts, these loans would come up for payment, just like your bag loans would come up for interest payments and sometimes even for installment of payback, of paying back. And they would be coming soon, one by one, and there was no foreign exchange, just foreign exchange to last for about 10 to 15 days. If we do not honor our obligations to pay our debt when they come up for payment, we will be a basket case, an outcast in the whole international economic scene. It would be very bad, extremely bad for the future, because no one will give you $1 for the future, because you have already not honored your debt. So no one, with some possibility, no one would think about it. It was left to Manmohan Singh to think out what he should do, and he did. We talked about foreign debt. In India, if you look, of course, this also is a corollary to this. How did we come to this pass? There was no connection at all between imports and exports. Imports were going at a galloping pace, and exports were not even catching up. There was no control. Fiscal profligacy was at its highest. Therefore, there was always a gap developing between imports and exports. And it was coming to very big figures, something like 10,000, 20,000 annually to crores, 10,000 crores, 20,000 crores annually. That was the kind of thing there. We were under a licensed Raj, which means it is a closed economy, in a manner of speaking. You close it and lock up and have all the keys there. And you can open up a little bit here, a little bit there, only if you have a license. License here, a license there, license for A, license for B, license for, various sectors, for everything. Without a license, you can't move. And therefore, it was a kind of closed thing. What happens when you have this kind of license, Raj, and keep all the keys with you? First of all, clever businessmen will try to wangle a way to get a little key, and all these people were doing that very same thing. Get a key, get a license in some sector, and you are a monopolist. You're the only person there. If you are fortunate enough somehow, through various means, of course, most of them dubious, you could have the run of the place. So if you are got somehow a license, a permission to drill into the ocean and find some products there, petroleum products, carbon products, if you have that, you are a monopolist and you have everything going, and soon you will be a billionaire. This was what was happening. The other side is that the bureaucrats who were administering this license and all the paraphernalia that goes along with a controlled, closed economy had now become petty tyrants. They liked the thing down. For all these bureaucrats who never ever thought when they joined the service that they would be the nawabs of some sector, and they would be dispensing these kinds of licenses and so on. For them, all the meanness in them came out, and they were all tyrants. They became oppressive in their own way, a little bloated with their sense of pride and power. That was one thing. The public sector undertakings were leaking money all over the place. They were spending and not getting anything in return. Public money from the exchequer, their public sector undertaking, the taxpayers' money. Look around, there was all this thing, and you'd have some very quick actions, absolutely quick actions. Manmohan Singh realized that there was no time, and therefore he set about the task with terrific speed. Terrific speed. Within a matter of 10 days, that was the speed and action that he unleashed. He was no weak person. That's a lie. He was a strong person, soft-spoken, yes, but a soft-spoken can also be a strong person. So he set about his task. Within 10 days, more or less, there was a minor, shake up. He called it shock treatment and all that. He scrapped all the licenses. Wow, all the licenses gone. And he opened up the economy to the most important element, foreign direct investment. He sanctioned 51% equity for these foreign direct investors. A whole lot of things he changed. As I said a little earlier, imports were galloping and exports were struggling there right at the bottom. He brought them into some kind of rhythm. You can't go it alone, imports and all that, he brought it alone. That was a wonderful scheme at that time, REP. And in simple terms, it is replenishment license and all that. In simple terms, it is this. If you were to export 100 rupees worth of stuff, you will get in return 30 rupees. That means 30% of the value of your exports you will get as a REP, as a license, which was tradable in the market. That will find its own level because no one was allowed to import without an REP license. That is the connection now. In other words, you can't import without an export. Not A to A, but it's in the market. Anyone who wants to import has to get an REP from the market. So the market mechanism started to work. If you go into the nitty-gritty of what he did in 10 to 15 days, just that time, and the single-mindedness he showed in this, it would be something very amazing. Shook up the bureaucracy, told them to work. What was happening now? People were sitting up. All the foreign investors were sitting up. God, there's a change. This mood had changed. All in a matter of a few days, I think a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. The mood had changed. Manmohan Singh was a keen student of John Maynard Keynes, the great British economist. In his classic work, The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, he said that economic activity resurgence is not just based on dry statistics and economic phenomena. It is also, in a very significant way, a result of psychological factors. The psychology that sees optimism, the psychology that sees social cohesion and determination, the psychology that sees purpose, harmony, and generally a feeling that things are going the right way, these things will start its own process. And they did. Keynes called it by the term animal spirits. That's a technical word and should not be mistaken for a literal word. He explained his theory in the book. And of course, Manmohan Singh was definitely a keen student of Keynes because Keynesian economics came into play in many other respects. He was seeing that. I could give you one example. The psychology of things. Change the psychology of things. in a very bold speech in Parliament presenting the 1991 budget, Manmohan Singh got up and said, he quoted Victor Hugo. He said, I'm quoting Victor Hugo, no power on earth can stop an idea whose time has come, he said. The Parliament members were listening in rapt attention. So that was the psychology of, of economic activity. It is the idea that has come. There are many things I could say of the nitty-gritty of how things were being turned around. Public sector undertakings, a lot of, a huge long list of public sector undertakings, everything under the sun, public sector. That was all dismantled. Let it go, all gone. Privatize. That was the thing. The result was clear. There was a flow of foreign direct investment. There was the foreign technology agreements, open technology coming here. The engines of change had begun working. And Manmohan Singh was there to watch it, see that. This is a snapshot of the miracle that happened in the first 30 to 40 days of Manmohan Singh taking over the finance ministry. Another, I have to say, another nitty-gritty is that he devalued the rupee. That's the best shot, because immediately, it was overvalued really. Immediately, our exports became cheaper to the outside world, and therefore more competitive, and therefore more attractive to those who wanted to buy from outside. And this also started the change, because he wanted to see that the exports were going up and the imports were kept in check, not the other way around. So this is a nitty-gritty thing, There were many, many things he did. He did it with single-minded purpose. If we enjoy or if we occupy, as we rightly do, a place among nations, among countries, including the G20, as a significant economic power, it is the work that was started in 1991 from a position of absolute total collapse to a resurgent economic power, to that kind of takeoff. No one else can claim that spot if he has any regard for the economic realities that were there in 1991. I could go on and on, but I don't do that. All that I say is that Manmohan Singh's place is secure in history. Take care.